I think until the question of love is asked, the question of why do we exist is asked, but more importantly, we're a human being where this being asks a question, what is my connection to other things? We had an interesting experience today. You know, we have a very interesting team of people work together, and we'd given an instruction to a guy to go do something, very precise instructions. And it's like basically we told him to go north and he was going south, right? And we started having this conversation. We said, hey, we had a 2-hour meeting, told you to do this and this. Why did you do this?
Sort of like the wires got crossed and the instruction that was received in the head clearly wasn't the same as the instruction that was written.
Right, exactly.
That was conveyed. Yeah.
Right, but as we had this 2-hour conversation, we didn't do our meeting. I was very curious instead of getting pissed off, which is what I actually was pissed off. Why didn't this task get done? It came to the conclusion that he was all about being task oriented, right? Do this task, do this task, do this task. And like John said, his wires got miscrossed on this task. And the reason they got miscrossed was that he didn't see the whole picture of why we're doing all these like he's part of something that is really to like grow our movement. And his task is to help advance this movement. But he thinks he's coming to work just to put a screw on a bolt, right? Or whatever, right? Or he's just a cog in the wheel. He doesn't understand the wheel even exists. Okay. The system even exists. And so we had this long conversation and we realized that the educational system today is creating robots. It is creating people, wherever in the world, to do a particular task, to get your wage for doing that task, then to go be with your family, have kids, right? Procreate, get involved in the debt cycle, and then die, whatever that is. But it's just to be this process. And we had this deep conversation recognizing, until people recognize, even in their own jobs, what system they're working in, they're basically, unless they do that, they're just an ant running around. They don't see the ant hill. And I gave an example of a friend of mine who works for a very large government organization. She had just hired a young woman, 25 years old, and the printer stopped working. And this woman comes running to her and says, oh my God, the printer's not working. And my friend says, well, did you check if the printer has paper? True story. Did you check if it has paper? She goes, no. How do I do that? True story.
You said this person was 25 years old.
25 years old. Okay. And
I could have been a teenager and I could tell you to change the paper in a printer.
Right. But the point is she had to go. The point is for that woman, the printer is just an outsourced device, something going and magically paper is she probably thinks paper is made in the printer.
Paper, it just shows up in there.
Right.
You press the button, printer goes.
Right. So what's happened in the world we have right now, we live in a world of complex systems. Most people probably don't even know how this device works. Most people probably don't even know how an apple comes up to your local store with the Washington. How did it make it all the way from Washington here? It's called supply chain. Why is it that there is a baby formula shortage?
Yeah.
Right.
You might have people that are very sophisticated at knowing how to manipulate their devices, but you can have those same people being like, hey, why doesn't the government just print everybody money? That would solve everything.
Right. So the interconnections are not taught. The ability to see interconnections between me and potentially something beyond me and maybe death, me and another human being, me and being part of a large system. This is why I keep hammering on everyone. The only way out of this, and listen very carefully, in order not to be a robot, I want to give the solution, is that you have to study the science of systems. There's no other way. And that's why all these philosophies were. They were called systems, traditional medical systems, yoga systems, right? People study these spiritual systems because they were trying to see their relationship to the world outside them, their relationship to nature. They were asking these fundamental systems questions. And so over the last 50 years, I realized that when you look at the world of engineering, when you look at the world of politics, and you look at the world of medicine, even though these worlds seem very different, technology, medicine and politics, they actually all are governed by the same systems principles. And I'm at the point now, I realize that you have people being on the left and the right. It's like robot group A fighting robot group B, cyborg A fighting cyborg B. It's really the best way to look at it. And the way that's happening is because the humans who are the ones who created these robots, and by the way, I'm not talking about in silico robots. I'm talking about carbon-based robots, which most humans are becoming. That the elites who are actually manufacturing robots, which they've been doing in carbon-based bodies, probably since 1940. They've accelerated that.
Dumbing people down so they don't think for themselves. They just respond to the programming.
Right. They react. So that carbon-based robot. So when Henry Ford created the manufacturing line, and I talked about this in another podcast, where you just put the wheel on the car. You just put the hubcap on the wheel. That was robots. That was AI. And the goal of the elites was to make everyone their slaves by just having you do this task over and over and over again. So AI was created not using, these type of things that we're seeing in this thing here. AI was created when they dehumanized a human being and just said, you keep doing this task, don't think. This thing happens to you, don't organize a bottoms-up movement to strike. You be a Democrat, you be a Republican. You one day vote for Obama, you next day vote for Trump. You give money here, you give money there, and you both are fighting against each other. I mean, it's quite incredible, right? All the elections always so close.
Yeah.
52-48.
And it didn't used to be the case. We've had elections in the past where the electoral college was like 300 plus votes for one person. We used to have like total landslides. It would swing one way and then swing the other the next cycle. And now every election is so close by the same margin. Look.
Yes, and they're very well engineered.